The paramedics fought valiantly, but they couldn't save the millionaire's beloved wife, who suddenly collapsed at the lavish restaurant. Mere moments later, the cleaning lady rushed to the scene, and the room collectively held its breath, stunned by her unexpected actions. The Blue Horizon restaurant in Denver, draped in an aura of elegant opulence and known for its divine cuisine, was engulfed in a palpable tension. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Emma and Jonathan clinked their glasses, marking their anniversary, yet the sound echoed more like an ominous toll than a joyous celebration. Emma's eyes darted around, filled with an unsettling sense of dread, while Jonathan maintained a composed facade, his expression betraying an undercurrent of premeditation. "Are you all right, darling? Is there something wrong with the meal?" Jonathan inquired, leaning in with a strained smile, his eyes betraying a hint of underlying unease. "Jonathan, I can't shake the feeling that we're being watched. Have you noticed anything peculiar tonight?" Emma whispered, her voice trembling under the weight of her growing anxiety. Jonathan's smile persisted, an attempt to pierce through the mounting tension. "Sweetheart, we're just having a pleasant dinner. Try to relax and enjoy the evening." "Everything is perfectly fine," he reassured, reaching out to hold her hand in a gesture of comfort. Despite her efforts to appear at ease, Emma's discomfort lingered. She reluctantly picked up her fork, but every bite felt like a battle against the nausea that churned within her. "I think the shrimp isn't fresh," she remarked, setting her fork down with a soft clang. "Let me get the waiter. They can bring you something else," Jonathan suggested, subtly signaling for assistance. The restaurant's impeccable service was swift, but Jonathan's eyes couldn't hide the deepening worry as he watched Emma's struggle. The waiter approached just as Emma leaned forward, her face a ghostly pale in the warm, golden light. "Jonathan, I feel unwell." "This isn't just about the shrimp," she murmured, her voice barely audible over the lively chatter and laughter surrounding them. The mounting dread in her voice echoed the terror she felt inside, painting a stark contrast to the celebration they had intended. "Do you need anything? Can I help in any way?" The waiter's voice was tinged with professional concern, his eyes darting between Emma and Jonathan. Jonathan squeezed Emma's hand, trying to infuse a sense of security into his touch. "Please bring some water and perhaps some medicine for nausea," quickly he instructed, his tone calm but his eyes betraying a growing dread. "Right away, sir," the waiter responded, hurrying off to fulfill the urgent request. Emma tried to steady herself, taking deep breaths. "Jonathan, this feels more than just a simple illness. My whole body is reacting," she began, but her sentence trailed off as her breathing grew rapid and shallow. "We will take care of you, Emma. Whatever this is, we will get through it," Jonathan affirmed, gripping her hands with determination. The other diners began to notice the commotion, their curious and concerned gazes turning toward the unfolding drama. As Jonathan held her hand, Emma felt a final flicker of clarity. "Jonathan, why?" she whispered before darkness overtook her completely. Jonathan's grip on her hand tightened, an urgency in his touch that spoke volumes more than mere concern. His eyes darted around frantically, noting the growing attention of the Blue Horizon patrons, their faces a mix of curiosity and alarm. "Emma, stay with me, please," Jonathan pleaded, his voice cracking under the strain. He waved desperately at the returning waiter, who brought a glass of water and a small first aid kit. The waiter's face mirrored the escalating panic as he placed the water on the table and rummaged through the kit. "We have an antacid and some allergy medications. She ate shrimp, right? Is she allergic? These might help until we can get her to a hospital," the waiter suggested, handing over the medications. Jonathan's hands trembled as he took the antacid. "Give it to her now," quickly Jonathan commanded, his voice leaving no room for hesitation. He tried to place the pill on Emma's pale lips himself. Emma struggled to swallow, her consciousness flickering between light and darkness. She managed to open her eyes briefly, staring at Jonathan with a blend of confusion and fear. "What's happening to me?" she murmured, her voice barely a whisper above the growing murmur of the other patrons. Jonathan caressed her face, attempting a comforting smile that failed to reach his eyes, which were filled with unspoken terror. The waiter's hands shook as he poured water, offering it to Emma in a desperate attempt to help. Jonathan's heart pounded in his chest as he looked around, hoping for someone to step forward with a solution. The elegant ambience of the Blue Horizon restaurant, with its golden lighting and soft music, had transformed into a scene of mounting distress and uncertainty. "Everything will be all right, my love. I'm here with you. I'll take you to the hospital now," Jonathan assured, turning to the waiter who lingered nearby, his face etched with worry. "Call an ambulance immediately and have someone control the crowd. We need space," Jonathan commanded, his voice steady amidst the chaos. The waiter nodded, pulling out his phone while directing other staff to manage the growing concern among the patrons. Meanwhile, Emma, now slightly more aware, gripped Jonathan's hand with unexpected strength. "Jonathan, this doesn't feel right. Something is wrong." I know," Jonathan replied, his eyes scanning the room in a desperate search for answers. "But I'm here, Emma. We'll get through this together." The restaurant, once a haven of celebration, had morphed into a scene of tension and fear. Patrons stood up, some approached to offer help, while others remained at a distance, whispering anxiously. "Please, everyone stay in your places. Help is on the way," the waiter shouted, trying to maintain order, but the tension only grew. As Jonathan held Emma, waiting for the ambulance, he whispered words of comfort, but his mind was racing, reliving each moment of the night, trying to pinpoint where things had gone awry. The situation at Blue Horizon restaurant was deteriorating rapidly. Jonathan clung to Emma's hand, her breathing becoming increasingly labored. The soft murmurs of the other diners turned into concerned whispers as they watched the drama unfold. "I can't breathe well." Emma's voice was faint, each word a struggle against the encroaching darkness. Her eyes were wide, filled with terror. "I'm here, Emma. Just hold on." Jonathan tried to keep his composure, but his anxiety was evident. He looked around desperately for additional assistance. "Sir, are you sure she's not allergic?" the waiter asked, already assessing Emma's condition. "She might be going into anaphylactic shock. We need epinephrine now." Jonathan nodded urgently to the waiter, who dashed towards the kitchen. "Check the first aid kit for an epinephrine injector," the waiter shouted to the staff. The restaurant, a place once filled with laughter and joy, had become a scene of medical crisis. "Emma, stay with me, please," Jonathan pleaded, his voice thick with emotion. The waiter returned with the injector, and Jonathan, hands trembling, administered the shot, praying for a miracle. As the medicine entered Emma's system, her breathing remained shallow, but a hint of hope glimmered in Jonathan's eyes. "You're going to be okay, Emma. The ambulance is on its way," he said, his voice a mix of desperation and determination. The other patrons watched with bated breath, their hearts aching with empathy. The sirens of the approaching ambulance could be heard in the distance, a beacon of hope amidst the fear and uncertainty that enveloped the Blue Horizon restaurant that night. As the waiter disappeared in search of the medication, Emma began to convulse slightly, her erratic movements adding a new level of urgency to the situation. Jonathan tried to keep her airways clear. "What's happening to her?" Jonathan asked, his voice thick with confusion and terror as he assisted Emma through the spasms. "You'll be all right. We're doing everything we can," he reassured Emma, his voice trembling as he held her, trying to stabilize her. His eyes darted around, desperately seeking help. The waiter returned, breathless, with an epinephrine auto-injector. Without hesitation, Jonathan took the injector, quickly prepared it, and applied it to Emma's thigh, praying the medication would work swiftly to stabilize her breathing. After a few tense moments, Emma's breathing remained unstable. She stayed weak and pale. "The ambulance is on its way." "Hold on," Jonathan assured her, trying to mask his fears about the cause of the incident. When the ambulance finally arrived, Jonathan knew how critical her condition was. "She needs more care at the hospital," he said urgently to one of the paramedics. "The epinephrine didn't help. My wife isn't allergic to shrimp. This must be something else, a sudden illness." As Emma was carefully placed on a stretcher and taken to the ambulance, Jonathan stayed by her side, promising her that everything would be fine. The ambulance siren tore through the night's silence as it sped through the streets of Denver towards the nearest hospital. Jonathan sat in the back of the ambulance, holding Emma's hand, which felt more fragile by the minute. Her face, bathed in the intermittent light of the sirens, showed a pallor that deepened his worry. "Can you hear me, Emma?" "We're almost there," Jonathan said, striving to keep his voice steady to offer some semblance of security. Emma, with half-closed eyes, nodded slightly, fighting to stay conscious. The paramedic next to her monitored her vital signs, adjusting the oxygen flow as needed. The once serene and joyous evening had spiraled into a nightmare of uncertainty and fear. Jonathan's heart pounded with anxiety as he watched Emma's labored breathing and pale complexion. He silently prayed for her strength and for the medical team to have the answers they desperately needed. "We're doing everything we can to keep her stable," the paramedic reassured, noting Jonathan's growing anxiety. "The hospital is already prepared to receive her immediately upon our arrival." Jonathan looked at the paramedic, his expression a mix of gratitude and despair. "She's never had health problems like this before. Never had allergies," he murmured, more to himself than to anyone else in the ambulance. The ambulance turned abruptly at another corner, speeding towards the hospital. The trip was a blur to Jonathan, his thoughts consumed by what could have caused Emma's sudden illness. Upon arrival, the medical team was waiting at the emergency entrance. Emma was swiftly transferred to a stretcher and taken inside with urgency, while Jonathan followed behind, a knot tightening in his stomach. "Please let me go with her," he pleaded to the nurses. "You can accompany her to the waiting room." "We will take care of her," a nurse replied, guiding Jonathan to a seat, while the medical team whisked Emma into a treatment room. Jonathan sat there, surrounded by the hustle and bustle of the emergency room, feeling the minutes painfully. Each passing second felt like an eternity. He couldn't help but blame himself for not having foreseen what had happened. As he waited, his mind drifted back to moments of their evening, trying to piece together any clue that might explain Emma's condition. The clinking glasses, the restless glances, the sudden illness, it all seemed like a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. Elsewhere, each day at the hospital brought news that a patient had escaped. Ashley knew she had been careful when taking the patient out and felt reassured that the patient was now safe, with no one knowing their whereabouts. One quiet afternoon, while they were having tea in the kitchen, Emma revealed more about her life with Jonathan after hearing Ashley talk about their argument at the hospital. Sipping her tea, Emma recounted the early days of her relationship with Jonathan, painting a picture of their life that contrasted sharply with their current crisis. Her words were tinged with nostalgia and a hint of sadness. "We were so happy once, Ashley. Jonathan was always so caring and attentive. But lately something has changed. He's been distant, preoccupied. I can't help but feel there's something he's not telling me." Ashley listened intently, offering a sympathetic ear. "Sometimes people change, Emma, but it doesn't mean they don't care. Maybe he's just going through something and doesn't know how to share it with you." Emma nodded, her eyes reflecting a mixture of hope and resignation. "I just wish I knew what it was. I feel like I'm losing him, and now with this sudden illness, I'm scared, Ashley, scared." Ashley reached out, placing a comforting hand on Emma's. "You're strong, Emma, and whatever it is, you'll get through it. Together." Emma smiled weakly, appreciating the support. The bond they shared in that moment was a small comfort amidst the chaos that had engulfed their lives. "He has always been so caring. Jonathan must be very worried about all this. I am sorry for the way he spoke to you. He was just scared. We've been together since high school. He knew I was involved in something serious at work. I believe he suspected what happened to me." Emma explained, her voice filled with a mixture of apology and concern. Ashley raised an eyebrow, prompting Emma to elaborate. "You know, Ashley, sometimes I feel so uncomfortable at work. The looks, the whispers. I feel like someone is always trying to pull me down," Emma confided, staring out the window with a distant expression. Ashley listened intently, her concern growing with each revelation. "Do you think someone at work might have a reason to harm you?" she asked gently, trying to probe without causing alarm. Emma sighed, a shadow of doubt crossing her face. "I don't know, but there is one person, Deborah, who has always wanted my position. She has never hidden it. Sometimes I think she would do anything to see me out of the company." Ashley pondered this information, the potential threat gnawing at her mind. "It's important to consider all possibilities, Emma. We need to be careful," she advised, feeling the weight of the responsibility she now carried. In the following days, as Emma gradually regained her strength, she and Ashley spent long hours together. They talked about everything, from joyful memories to the challenges they faced. The conversations flowed naturally, filling Ashley's house with a blend of laughter and occasional tears. During one of their heartfelt talks, Emma recounted a particularly touching memory. "Do you remember our senior prom, Ashley? Jonathan was so nervous about asking me to dance. He accidentally stepped on my dress, and we both laughed so hard. It was such a simple, perfect moment," she said, a soft smile playing on her lips. Ashley laughed, the sound lightening the heavy atmosphere. "I remember that. You two were so adorable together, and you still are, despite everything." Emma's eyes glistened with emotion. "I hope so. But these recent events have made me question so much. I just want things to go back to the way they were." Ashley squeezed Emma's hand reassuringly. "We'll get through this, Emma. You're not alone. Jonathan loves you, and we're all here for you." As days turned into weeks, Emma's health improved and her resilience shone through. Yet, the uncertainty about her sudden illness lingered. Jonathan visited regularly, his concern evident in his every gesture. He and Emma spent time discussing their future, reaffirming their commitment to each other. One evening, as the sun set and cast a warm glow over Ashley's living room, Jonathan took Emma's hand. "No matter what happens, Emma, we'll face it together. I promise you that." Emma nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "Thank you, Jonathan. I believe in us." As they navigated this challenging chapter of their lives, the bonds between them only grew stronger. The love and support they shared became their anchor, guiding them through the uncertainty and fear. With Ashley by their side, they faced each day with renewed hope and courage, determined to uncover the truth and reclaim their peace. One evening, as they busied themselves with the preparations for dinner, Emma opened up about her troubling interactions with Deborah. "You know, Deborah has always been incredibly competitive, but recently, her intensity has ramped up. It was almost as if she was plotting something. She even knew about my dinner plans with Jonathan and how excited I was. She went so far as to offer me a glass of champagne to celebrate. I couldn't help but find her sudden change in demeanor unsettling," Emma said, her voice tinged with concern. Ashley, who was busy slicing vegetables, paused mid-motion. The revelation struck a chord, and a subtle suspicion began to stir within her. "Did you drink the champagne?" she asked, her tone carefully neutral but her mind racing with possibilities. "Yes, I did," Emma replied, oblivious to the shift in Ashley's thoughts. It seemed like a gesture of goodwill, a moment of peace. It was odd how suddenly kind she was being. Ashley continued to chop the vegetables, her mind deep in thought. The casual conversation had sparked a troubling consideration. The idea of Deborah's possible involvement in Emma's mysterious illness was taking root, and Ashley knew she needed to proceed with caution. As they enjoyed their meal together, Ashley's thoughts were preoccupied with the gravity of the situation. The following morning, after making sure Emma was settled and in good spirits, Ashley decided it was time to take action. "I'm going to do some investigating today," she announced as she prepared breakfast. "We need to dig deeper into what happened." Emma looked up from her breakfast, her face reflecting a mix of apprehension and gratitude. "Please be careful, Ashley. I have a bad feeling that whoever is behind this is very dangerous. I don't know what their intentions are, but I'm afraid they might come after us next." Ashley gave Emma a reassuring smile, though her mind was already racing through a plan of action. "Don't worry, I'll tread carefully. We need to uncover the truth, no matter how deep it runs." As Ashley set out on her investigation, she felt a sense of urgency. The need to protect her friend and uncover the mystery behind Deborah's suspicious behavior was paramount. The task ahead was daunting, but the safety of Emma, and possibly others, depended on finding the answers. Ashley dressed in understated attire, carefully chosen to blend into the corporate environment she was about to infiltrate. Her outfit was practical and nondescript, designed to draw as little attention as possible. She arrived at the company where Emma had worked, determined to investigate Deborah discreetly. With a calm demeanor and a confident stride, she presented herself as an external HR consultant tasked with conducting an employee satisfaction survey, a guise that would grant her access to various floors and departments without raising suspicion. Upon entering the building, Ashley's eyes took in the atmosphere. She noted the visible strain and tension on employees' faces, which seemed to mirror the high-pressure, competitive environment Emma had described. With a practiced ease, she navigated the office space, searching for Deborah. Her patience paid off when she spotted Deborah through the frosted glass of a meeting room, actively engaged in what appeared to be a passionate discussion. Once the meeting concluded, Ashley seized the opportunity to approach Deborah. She put on a veneer of professional courtesy, tempered with an assertive edge. "Hello, I'm an HR consultant here to gather insights into the work environment. Could I have a few minutes of your time?" Ashley asked, maintaining her pretense with practiced ease. Deborah looked up, a mix of surprise and curiosity on her face. Eager to make a positive impression on an external consultant, she readily agreed. "Certainly, let's head to my office," she said, her demeanor polished and welcoming. As they walked through the office, Ashley skillfully steered the conversation with a series of general questions about the company's culture. She watched Deborah closely, noting her body language and responses. Deborah spoke with an enthusiastic tone about her dedication to her work and her ambitions within the company. However, beneath the surface of her articulate and confident replies, Ashley detected a certain calculated detachment. Trying to delve deeper, Ashley asked, "How do you manage the competition here? It seems like a high-stakes environment." Deborah responded with a light, almost rehearsed laugh, her expression remaining meticulously composed. "Oh, it's competitive," she said. "Everyone is keen to climb the ladder. But I firmly believe in playing by the rules. Sometimes, ambition gets misconstrued. People can misinterpret a drive to succeed as something more sinister." Ashley noted the coldness in Deborah's voice, the way her eyes seemed to gloss over her words. Despite the polite exterior, something was unsettling about the calculated way she spoke. The conversation provided no definitive clues, but it only fueled Ashley's resolve to dig deeper. As the meeting ended and Deborah escorted Ashley out, the impression left was one of superficial charm masking deeper currents. Ashley's mind buzzed with the implications of what she had learned, or rather, what she had not learned. The investigation was just beginning, and she knew she had to remain vigilant to uncover the truth. Ashley observed Jonathan from a discreet distance, carefully noting his demeanor and behavior. He was absorbed in a phone call, his expression serious and his gestures animated. Ashley, pretending to be a casual customer, positioned herself at the counter, making a mental note of Jonathan's intense focus. As Jonathan ended his call and moved away from the cafe area, Ashley seized the opportunity to approach the counter and order a coffee. She took a seat at a nearby table, her eyes scanning the lobby as she sipped her drink. Jonathan's conversation had been inaudible, but the gravity of his tone and the urgency in his movements suggested something significant. After a few minutes, Jonathan left the building, and Ashley followed him at a safe distance. Her curiosity was piqued, and she felt a growing sense of unease. Jonathan's behavior was intriguing and slightly suspicious, but she needed more information to draw any conclusions. Jonathan's path took him to a small, unmarked office building a few blocks away. Ashley, maintaining her cover as an inconspicuous observer, watched him enter and disappear behind the door. She waited outside, her mind racing with questions. Realizing she couldn't gain much more information from observing from the street, Ashley decided to try a different approach. She approached the building under the pretense of seeking information from a nearby office. Inside, she found a directory that listed various businesses operating in the building. Her investigation revealed that Jonathan's destination was linked to a private consultancy firm specializing in corporate security and investigations. This discovery only deepened the mystery. Why would Jonathan need to visit such a firm, especially if he was already aware of the workplace challenges Emma faced? Returning to Emma's house, Ashley shared her findings. Jonathan's been visiting a consultancy firm that deals with corporate security and investigations. It's not directly related to any usual business or HR concerns. Emma listened intently, her brows furrowing in thought. Jonathan has always been protective, but I never imagined he'd be involved with something like this. Do you think it could be connected to what happened to me? Ashley nodded, her concern growing. It's hard to say for sure, but his involvement with a security firm adds a layer of complexity. It might be worth exploring further, especially if Jonathan has been secretly investigating something related to your situation. Emma agreed, her worry evident. We need to proceed with caution. If Jonathan is hiding something, it's crucial to understand what's at stake before jumping to any conclusions. With renewed determination, Ashley and Emma decided to continue their investigation, knowing they were treading on delicate ground. Their quest for answers was becoming more intricate, with Jonathan's involvement adding a new dimension to the mystery they were trying to unravel. Ashley felt the weight of her discovery as she relayed the situation to the police, her voice steady but her heart racing. She provided them with the vial, the prescription, and the note, along with a detailed account of her observations. The authorities agreed to take immediate action, noting the potential severity of the situation. While waiting for the police to investigate further, Ashley returned to Emma's house, her mind still grappling with the implications of what she had uncovered. Emma was anxiously awaiting her return. "Did you find out anything?" Emma asked, her voice tinged with hope and concern. Ashley took a deep breath before responding. "I found something troubling. Jonathan was carrying a vial and a prescription that could be used to poison someone. There was also a note with your name on it. I contacted the police, and they're investigating." Emma's face went pale, and she sank into a chair. "Jonathan? I can't believe it. Could he be involved in something like this?" "I don't know for sure," Ashley replied, her voice calm but serious. "The police will investigate, and we need to let them do their work. But the evidence is serious, and we must remain cautious." Emma nodded, struggling to process the shock of the revelation. "What should we do now?" While the investigation is underway, it's crucial to ensure your safety. The police will keep you informed about any developments Ashley advised. In the meantime, try to avoid contact with Jonathan and keep yourself safe. As the hours passed, the police conducted a thorough investigation, including a search of Jonathan's office and home. They interviewed him and gathered additional evidence to determine the extent of his involvement, if any, and whether the evidence found was part of a larger, more complex situation. The news of the investigation spread quickly, and Emma found herself dealing with a whirlwind of emotions. The shock of the potential betrayal mixed with the concern for her safety created an atmosphere of tension and uncertainty. Ashley stayed by Emma's side, offering support and reassurance. "We'll get through this, Emma. It's important to stay strong and let the authorities handle the investigation. You have my full support." The situation was still unfolding, and the answers to the many questions remained uncertain. As the investigation continued, Ashley and Emma hoped for clarity and justice, knowing that the truth would ultimately come to light. Jonathan's demeanor shifted slightly, his calm facade beginning to crack under Emma's confrontation. The tension in the room was palpable as he tried to maintain his composure. "Emma, I don't know what you're talking about." "There must be some misunderstanding," Jonathan said, his voice slightly wavering as he attempted to project confidence. His eyes, however, betrayed a hint of anxiety as he met Emma's gaze. The lead detective, a seasoned officer with a stern expression, interjected. "Jonathan, we found a vial and a prescription in your car that is consistent with substances used to poison someone. You need to explain their presence and why they were found with your belongings." Jonathan's confident demeanor faltered further. He glanced at the detective, then at Emma, before speaking again, his voice now defensive. "The vial and prescription are from a medication I use for a medical condition. The note must be a mistake. Emma's name might have been written on it by accident." The detective raised an eyebrow, clearly unconvinced. "We'll need to verify that claim. For now, we're treating this as a serious matter, and your cooperation is essential." Emma, trying to steady her voice, added, "Jonathan, I trusted you. I need to know if this is really about me, or if there's another explanation. I don't understand why you'd be involved in something like this." Jonathan sighed, looking conflicted. "Emma, I swear, I never intended to hurt you. If there's been a mistake, I'll do everything I can to clear it up." The detective nodded, signaling to his team to continue their investigation. "We'll need to conduct a thorough examination of the items found, and we'll also be looking into Jonathan's recent activities and connections. For now, Jonathan will be held for further questioning." As Jonathan was led away, Emma sat in stunned silence, grappling with the magnitude of the situation. Ashley reached out, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll get through this, Emma. The truth will come out." Emma nodded, her eyes reflecting a mix of fear and resolve. "I hope so. I just want to understand what happened and ensure that I'm safe." The next steps involved a comprehensive investigation into Jonathan's claims and the evidence found, including verifying the authenticity of the medication and exploring any connections that might explain the suspicious circumstances. Emma and Ashley were left to wait, their hopes pinned on the ongoing investigation to uncover the truth and provide clarity. Emma's hands trembled as she watched Jonathan being led away, his cold smile now replaced by a look of stark resignation. The realization that her husband had been capable of such a betrayal was almost too much to bear. The police officer's decisive action in Jonathan's arrest marked the beginning of a painful chapter, but also the end of a terrifying uncertainty. As Jonathan was escorted out, the detective turned to Emma and Ashley. "We'll be conducting a thorough investigation to understand the full extent of Mr. Jonathan's actions. We appreciate your cooperation and patience during this process." Emma nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you. I just want to understand why this happened and make sure I'm safe." The officer gave a reassuring nod. "We'll do everything in our power to ensure you get the answers you need. In the meantime, if you have any further information or concerns, please let us know." Ashley squeezed Emma's shoulder gently. "We'll be here for you through every step of this. Let's make sure you have everything you need to start healing from this." As they left the police station, Emma felt a mix of relief and profound sadness. The world she thought she knew had shattered, but the support from Ashley and the determination to find answers provided a glimmer of hope. Back at Ashley's home, the two women sat together in the quiet comfort of the kitchen, reflecting on the day's events. Emma, feeling emotionally drained, leaned on her friend for support. "Thank you for everything, Ashley. I don't know how I would have managed all this without you," Emma said, her voice filled with gratitude. Ashley smiled warmly. "You don't need to thank me. We're friends, and friends support each other through the toughest times. We'll get through this, and we'll make sure you're safe and protected." As Emma took solace in Ashley's words, she knew that while the path ahead would be challenging, she was not alone. The days to come would bring more revelations and healing, but the strength she found in her friendship and the pursuit of justice would guide her through this tumultuous period. The events of the night had left Emma exhausted, but amidst the turmoil, she found solace in the steadfast support of Ashley and the unwavering commitment of the authorities. As she sat in the quiet of Ashley's home, the weight of Jonathan's betrayal began to shift from shock to resolve. Ashley prepared a warm cup of tea, the comforting aroma filling the room and providing a small but much-needed respite. She sat beside Emma, offering a gentle smile. "We'll take it one step at a time," Ashley said softly, her voice steady and reassuring. "Right now, focus on taking care of yourself. The legal process will unfold, but your well-being is what matters most." Emma sipped her tea, the warmth seeping into her chilled bones. "Thank you, Ashley. I honestly don't know how to even start moving forward from all this." "One step at a time," Ashley reiterated. "And remember, you don't have to do it alone. You have people who care about you and are here to help." As the first light of dawn began to filter through the curtains, Emma felt a tentative sense of calm. The night had been filled with fear and uncertainty, but the new day represented a chance to rebuild and heal. The journey ahead was daunting, but with Ashley by her side and the support of those committed to seeking justice, Emma found the strength to face the future. The path to recovery would be long, but each step, supported by friends and the commitment to uncovering the truth, would help Emma reclaim her life and find peace once again. As we wrap up this intense journey, we hope the unfolding story has provided you with valuable insights into resilience, trust, and the importance of vigilance in our relationships. Through Emma's ordeal and the surprising twists, we've learned a lot about courage in the face of adversity and the crucial role of support systems. What about you? What lessons have resonated with you from Emma's story? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please comment below with one key takeaway that you plan to apply in your own life. If you found this video impactful, please leave a comment and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more stories and content that inspire and inform. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.